once again, the date today is.
Oh, you don't remember.
Yeah, you mentioned it 3 minutes ago. and I
Right.
forgot it. Right.
It's
April.
I
I
remember.
know it's
I know
April.
the date. I don't know the year.
I know it's April. I know
It's
it's April.
April the 9th, the year 2016.
Very
Yes.
good. Would you ever believe that we live in the year 2016? Isn't that
It's
inconceivable?
it's
It really
incredible.
is incredible.
I know that. I looked it up once when I was born, which was 1933. My life expectancy was 67.
Yeah.
And that's if you had good health,
Right. Right.
And in a matter of weeks, I'll be 83.
That's old.
Old man, an old man.
So we're recording this because Michael and Kevin had often said they'd like us to record talking about we were kids and what happened. And I'd like to tell them a little bit about
All right, fine. You got to remember, as I said before, one major thing. And I think anybody watching this must understand that. Sheldon and I grew up in the same house with separate lives.
Right.
And his perception of our life in our youth is much different than my perception.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
It is a very interesting
Yeah.
perception. What's your earliest recollection? You said that we grew up in same house but different perceptions.
Yes.
Right.
And I want to one thing that really brought it home to me when you were out here last year and you said something, and I felt it remarkable what you said because it was so much different than my perception. You said that you felt growing up that we were one of the richest people in our neighborhood.
Correct.
And my perception, living in the same house with the same parents in the same years, is that we grew up in abject poverty.
Well, I'm going to point to some things to show how wrong you are.
All right. Well,
you couldn't be wronger, okay? And I guess it's not a word, but it's okay.
all right.
But the neighborhood we grew up in was a middle-class neighborhood in Newark, very mixed ethnically.
No, I don't see right away. I when you say something I'm not going to agree with it. I didn't think it was a middle class neighborhood.
It was lower middle class?
Yeah, we
Tell
were.
me- tell me-
We were.
tell me-
hold- Can I?
Yeah.
You sound like you're on CNN right now. Okay. Yeah. We grew up on South 17th Street between 16th and 15th Avenue. We were Jewish. We were a minority in that neighborhood because the Jews lived in Weequahic. You eventually escaped by going to Weequahic High School, but that
But
wasn't
there
the
were still a
neighborhood.
lot of Jews, but
There were some Jews.
Yeah,
There
but
were some Jews.
primarily Sicilian Italians in our neighborhood.
Yeah,
But there
Poles,
was Poles, Irish,
Irish,
everything,
right? We had
Norwegian.
we had
Yeah,
mixed
that's
neighborhood. We
right.
had mixed
That's
neighborhood,
right. Okay.
but it was any Jew
All right.
that lived there was living there only
Okay.
because they couldn't afford to
Okay.
move to the Weequahic section.
So was there a lower class area where Jews lived?
Well, since I've gotten older, I've met Jews that lived in the ironbound section. I don't know what kind of houses they lived in. There were Jews that lived near off of Elizabeth Avenue that went to Southside High School.
Right,
That may have been
that's right.
but they were a handful. I mean, I met them. The Clark family lived
Right.
there.
On Johnson Avenue.
Or on Johnson Avenue, but they were in the great minority. Most Jews lived in the area that's been described in book after book by Philip Roth, and it was the Weequahic section.
There were a lot of Jews in our neighborhood on 13th Street where our grandparents lived.
There were
There were
some.
a lot of Jews.
There were some.
There were a lot of Jews in our neighborhood.
Well, maybe I was anti-Semitic and I didn't
Right.
know what to do with them.
There were a lot of Jews there.
Okay.
Right, there were a lot of Jews. But relatively speaking, in our neighborhood, which once again I describe as at the time what was equivalent to middle class. By the way, middle class to me means you can pay your rent, you got enough food to eat, okay? You can have a mediocre entertainment budget in your life, and you lived your life, and that's middle class to me.
Well, true, we had that, but when you think of two young kids, you and I, and our mother, having to work along with our father, or else we would never even have that. Most families are not that way.
It was just the nature. We were a middle class family of the times, and that's how it was.
No, most middle class families, all right, lived a lot nicer. But all right, let's.
Right, but we had things.
We haven't agreed for 80 years, for almost 80 years. So why should we start
That's
agreeing
because
now?
you've always taken advantage of me. Right.
Why should we start agreeing
Right,
now?
right. Right. In spite of the fact that you have some unhappy situations about our growing up.
Oh yes, I have.
You did not treat me like the prince that I was. that our parents, at least our father, thought I was.
It took you a long time to realize that you weren't a prince.
Right.
You certainly were raised to believe that you were a prince.
I had princely surroundings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Princely surroundings.
Absolutely, Sheldon. You had a fan
Okay. But was that my fault?
I'm not looking for fault. Of course, it wasn't your fault. Was it my fault that I was a piece of crap because I was born in the Bronx?
You were the Bronx.
I mean, I'm saying this now.
Yeah.
My father looked down at me. He really disliked me for two reasons, and he would. If I asked him, he was.
I remember the two
he would
reasons.
express it. He remembers the two reasons, and this is hard to believe. Number one, I was born in the Bronx, and nothing good ever came out of the Bronx.
Right.
And number two, he took me to Bronx Park in a baby carriage, and I wouldn't stop crying.
Crying, yeah.
And he never forgave me
You never forgave me
for either one of those things.
Right.
And
when Ellie would do something, say, "Sure, you were born in the Bronx. What do you expect? You're born in the Bronx. You didn't shut your mouth, kept crying all the time."
I mean, here's a good thing for a father to say. He said this to me. It's hard to believe. He said to me, "Don't worry," he says. "Sheldon will do very well. He'll take care of you." It's almost like a scene out of The Godfather where Fredo says to Michael, "I was the older brother." When Michael finds out that that Fredo double-crossed him. "I was the older brother. I was supposed to be."
I'm your older brother, Mike, and I was stepped over.
That's the way Pop wanted
It
it.
ain't the way I wanted it.
But growing up was a unique neighborhood, of course.
Yes.
Now, Joe Storer used to call me Jew Boy.
Okay. Well, let me explain this also.
Right.
All right. Because I think anybody watching this, like you say, Joe Storer used to call you Jew Boy. I used to hang out on the corner.
Right.
A big hangout on the corner by Comrauer's candy store, on the corner of 16th Avenue and South 17th Street, across from West Side Park. And a lot of us no girl would ever go to Comrauer's candy store because of the abuse they would take walking in and out of the candy store. Any event, you didn't call anybody by their name. We had the Polak, who ended up as a professor of history at Northwestern.
Who was that?
The kid down my mind's blank.
Yeah.
All right. We had Jim. I know it's another Jim Carney, but this Jim Carney, who for many years was one of the leading doctors on the shore. I think the Mick. He was called the Mick.
Right.
I was the Jew boy. There were other Jew boys. Those were the Pleiter people called you Jew boy. Others would call you the kike. And we were friends. And
right.
Nobody.
They were our best friends, right?
Yeah, right. The way we always hang, and nobody took that much offense about it.
Politically very incorrect.
What?
Politically very incorrect.
And the only time you really felt, and I think Sheldon went through the same thing, maybe he didn't, is when we lived on South 17th Street. Our shul, and it wasn't a synagogue, it wasn't a temple, it was a shul.
Right. Not a house of worship.
It was on 10th Street. So to go to Hebrew school or
Right.
over the holidays. We had to walk the 7 blocks from
Went to Hebrew school every day.
every day, right?
Every day went to Hebrew
I
school.
had to walk the 7 blocks from South 17th Street to the
10th
shul.
Street. 10th Street.
To 10th Street, with the shul on 10th Street.
You're right.
And there was a park there, Westside Park. And at the edge of the park there were bushes. And you would walk, and suddenly the kids that were your friends, that you said you knew them, it was time to beat up the Jews.
Did it never occur to you to walk on the other side of the street?
No, because there were others that go over there. That's why we walked.
Tantamaka lived on the other side.
Yeah, right.
Tantamaka lived on the other side.
And not that physically, they really did anything, but they would taunt you, and because you were away from the group, you see, you were just Jews alone, as opposed to
But nothing ever happened. There was never a
no,
fight.
no,
They
there was
beat you
nothing
up.
ever happened.
It was just
no
mocking,
real
just,
violence or anything. No.
No.
But I always remember the Hebrew school. Do you remember?
Of course I remember.
Remember
Avant Zion.
Did you have Mr. Krim?
Of course I had Rabbi Krim.
Rabbi Krim.
But he was replaced.
Okay. Well, when I went to, of course, I
Right,
went to
Rabbi
school
Krim was
before
there.
Sheldon. I remember going to Hebrew school, studying for my bar mitzvah, and a little bit of a guy, Rabbi
Right,
Krim,
yeah, he was a man.
was the teacher. I forgot what you called him, what the Jewish term was. And we were reading. He was teaching us. We were reading something, and I said to him, Rabbi Krim, what does this mean? And he looked at me and said, what does this mean? You want to know what this means? Ross, you going to become a rabbi? I said, no. If you become a rabbi, you got to know what it means,
That was
Really?
the problem. That's where I lost my faith. Not lost my faith. I just didn't care about it because it was just you learn by rote. Everything was rote. No one ever. The issue of morality and anything was never discussed.
You see, it took me a lot of years to finally understand what was going on. Knowledge was a possession. It was power. And these people who had practically nothing other than knowledge, they weren't ready to share their knowledge. They did not want the Elliot Brosses of the world to understand what it meant. It's a put them
Right.
on apart,
But you know what? I don't think it was. They did what their fathers did, what their
Oh
grandfathers
yes.
did.
Well,
And the whole. I mean, I don't think ever did. Our dad never went to Shabbos services.
no,
He only went on the holidays.
on the high holidays.
On
yeah.
Rosh Hashanah, even then, just on Rosh Hashanah.
Rosh Hashanah,
Yom
Yom Kippur.
Kippur.
Yeah, he
And
was,
that's what they did. And those are the Jews of that generation. That's what they did. But he did what his father did in Russia.
by the way, I want to interject one thing. You start talking about going to the shul on the holidays, and because I'm sure nobody will ever see it today. What would happen is that if the place was jammed, everybody was there, and then they would start asking for donations. And I don't know, it was the president of the synagogue, the rabbi, who knows. Anyway, I would raise my, I would raise my hand.
If you were.
If I was a member of the council, I would raise my hand and I would say, and maybe but I wouldn't say me, because maybe I was the local tailor,
Right.
I would raise my hand. All right, $50.
No, you wouldn't.
Right.
You would say, 56 toilet. You wouldn't say it in Yiddish. You'd say it in Yiddish.
I would say it in Yiddish. Yeah,
No one would speak English.
Right,
there.
right. A word of English.
56 toilet.
He's right. A word of English was never
25,
spoken there.
Right.
And then they would look down. The millionaire, the millionaire Bross is. I don't want your 50. And can you imagine this before?
By the way, I could sit downstairs with my father. Ellie could sit downstairs, but my mother had to sit in the balcony because women could not sit with the men.
Right.
So when my mother came to shul, she would have to sit in the balcony.
And at any given time, there were more people mulling outside
Outside.
the temple,
Right.
except when they said Yiska, for the
Right,
prayer for the
the
dead. Those are memories.
But, and our father came from Snyacic, which was a little town and still trying. My father always says Russia, but I looking at the map, I thought it was Poland.
No, hold it, hold it. You see, that shows your ignorance.
Thank you, Elliot.
I know your grandchildren may be watching this. That's
Right.
what I want to do.
Yeah, right.
Any person that has read the history at all knows that Monday it was
Right.
in Russia,
Russia, right.
Tuesday was Poland,
Right,
Wednesday was back in Russia.
Right, right.
There were times when when it was controlled by Russia, and the young men of the village were taken away for 20 years
Right.
to be in the Tsar's military. But the important thing was the language that they spoke, and the language that they spoke was Yiddish.
They spoke Yiddish, however, they knew some words. They didn't speak the Farland, but they knew some words, and Dad knew words in Polish and not Russian.
You know, Sheldon, I'm going to interject once again. I go into tangents.
You seem to constantly
You're right,
be
you're
correcting
right,
me.
you're right.
Elliot.
No, I'm not correcting you.
Okay.
I want to ask you a question.
Right.
Because I've never asked you this question, but I think we're sitting here on my patio in
Right.
Goodyear, Arizona.
It's
by the
Dine
golf
America.
course.
It's Dine America, Elliot.
And we're recording this on an iPad.
Right.
I spent the entire morning on my iPhone and etc. If our father came down or came up, depends
Right.
on where he's coming from,
Right.
and suddenly
I
saw,
know that.
and he would say one phrase.
He would say,
Is there any question what he would say?
no doubt, I would say. He'd say, which, by the way, my entire study group in law school
Yeah.
knows that phrase.
Okay.
Akamieja Nambieja. Which, interestingly, see,
Yeah.
I'm still love to know the origin because, and which means the translation is a comedy without tickets, meaning that you're seeing here, you've come, it's like you're seeing a side
A show. Well, it's a
You're
show.
seeing a
Yeah.
show,
Yeah.
and you didn't have to
Right.
pay.
You don't buy tickets for it.
Thank you.
Right. Yeah.
But the origins of the words, komedja
Yeah.
is a comedy.
Yeah.
So is
Okay.
that Greek or Roman?
I have no idea.
And
No.
Bieja is
I was
Latin.
absent that day.
Okay. But Bieja, you took Latin. You're a
I
Latin
took Latin
scholar.
for I took
Yeah,
Latin for almost a week.
And a German, you took German also.
Yeah, for 2 weeks.
Right,
Okay.
right. But a Bieja is like Biete in Spanish, so it has is Romanesque roots.
No, it could be.
So I don't know,
Well, it
where
could
that
be.
phrase came from.
Well, I'm sure there. Look, that entire area was at once controlled by Rome.
Rome,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm sure a lot of the language has. And in fact, the words in Russia, Tsar means Caesar.
Right, you're right.
Yeah.
Right.
So the language has a lot of Roman or Latin.
But speaking of that, one of the great joys, and to this day we used to speak about, especially Frank used to talk about
Yeah.
it, when my friends used to come to Herbie. Herbie talks about it.
Yeah.
My friends used to come to the house to meet Dad.
Okay.
And they would talk, we understood everything he
Right.
said. He was our father,
Mhm.
But my father, Ira had a hell of an accent.
Right.
And he'd say something to Herbie or to Frank
Yeah.
or somebody. They had no idea what he was talking
No,
about.
because he did one thing, you forgot. He would start sentences in the middle. In other words, we'd be talking, like we were talking now, and if he was sitting there and he wouldn't say a word, all we said, "You goddamn didn't believe that,"
Right.
I had no idea what he's talking about. I remember, you talk about remembering, I'm shooting that. Enid grew up in Maplewood. Especially her mother was always been a very. And she died when she was 100. But I always say, I'm sure she believed she was a. Oh my God! What? She was a Romanov, kidnapped by gypsies.
Right.
And
She was the Weinberg girl.
she was
the Weinberg girl.
but she believed she was a very fancy lady.
Right.
But
She was fancy. She was.
Oh,
She
you
was a
better
fancy
believe it.
lady,
She was
Belle.
about attention
Yeah.
fancy. She was
Yeah.
but that's beside the point. I'm
Right.
not gonna. All right, but Enid came. Enid was this very proper house, and two girls grew up in it. They're very quiet, everything. And then I finally brought it to our house. Now, first of all, when I parked in front, she was afraid to get out of the car. Okay, this middle class neighborhood. Yeah.
Wait. We were not on South 17th Street.
I believe we were the first time.
Because when Enid slept over, it was
Yeah,
on
we
Wayland
were.
Street.
Yeah, but we had when we moved. What year did we move? I think that's when you moved already.
I moved after I got out of law school. While I was
All
in
right.
law
What
school,
year did you get out of law school?
I got out of law school in 61.
And we got married in '61.
Right.
My recollection. We can ask Enid when she's here. My recollection is the first time I took Enid to the house to meet Mom and Dad.
Right.
It was on South 17th.
South 17th.
Yeah, all right. Okay. Because I met Enid. Yeah, I met Enid in '59. So I'd been dating her. Anyway, I bring her to the house, and to this day, I'm sure she couldn't believe Jews lived that way. Anyway, and I take her in, and Mom makes some sort of dinner or something, whatever, and she's there, and we begin laughing at my father. And he's not saying jokes or anything. Sheldon and I, it's hard to take seriously what he does and what he says. And he thought it was the most horrible thing, the most shocking thing.
But history repeats itself because when Jody married Kevin, okay, Jody could not believe the way Kevin used to talk to me.
Okay.
And Jody to this, she was shocked.
Right.
She was shocked that a son would speak to a father like Kevin. Now my grandchildren do the same thing. Right?
And
They make fun of me, Elliot.
And it was hard. It was hard. I had to explain to her that growing up with my father, if I didn't laugh, I would cry. If I ever took serious what he said, my life would be totally
all right.
different.
Elliot, let's straighten out one thing.
Go ahead.
About me being the special child.
Oh, come on. Is there any question about it?
No question about it.
All right.
I mean, and if you ask Dad,
he
would say, sure,
Of
Sheldon's
course.
I mean,
You were
he would do
you
that.
were born in Newark.
Right,
Okay, of course, absolutely.
And as I look back,
Yeah.
you do have a lot of grievances.
All right. I'm glad after almost 80 years you finally admit that my grievances. I feel like an Armenian where a Turk has finally acknowledged that there was a genocide.
But another brother would be happy for the fact that his younger brother is getting all these things that he didn't have. You should take joy in the fact.
Yes. It was just natural. I'm sure anybody watching this, if they looked at one of their siblings who was getting everything, and you were just getting insulted, would say, "Oh, I'm just so happy that
Look, there were a few things I got during the war when it was a popular thing.
Yeah.
Little boys got soldier uniforms.
Yes, you did.
I got a soldier. I think you
got
got a Nazi. You got Nazi.
I got not. You're right. I got a Nazi. I got a Nazi.
So
You're right.
all right,
or a kimono. Yeah.
And then when it was bar mitzvah time,
Yeah.
we had. Where was your bar mitzvah? So I remember
My bar
Where was
mitzvah.
it
No,
celebrated?
but there was a reason for that. I have to defend what's true.
Right.
My bar mitzvah. Not that it would have been different.
Right,
I
yeah.
think. My bar mitzvah was in Uncle Morris had an empty flat.
Right.
And my bar mitzvah celebration was in Uncle Morris's empty flat. But the excuse was that one of the grandparents
Had died.
had died
What year was that?
in the last 30 years,
What year was your bar mitzvah?
Well,
Mine was 51.
all right, so,
2 years earlier.
so I'd be 13 years
46,
old, so it'd be 46,
46. And my bar mitzvah was held at the Avon Caterers,
Caterers, yes.
which was a very fancy thing. with
Right.
Tuxedos.
Right, we still have, we have, oh, wait a minute, hold it, wait a minute. You want all right. You want you want to talk about why I feel the way I did? In our living room, no matter where we lived,
Yeah.
there was one book near the sofa. And what was that book?
My bar mitzvah.
I'm bringing it into the house to meet my parents. My mother throws her down on the couch and begins her showing the pictures, the photos from Sheldon's bar mitzvah.
But you know, and admittedly, my bar mitzvah gift
Yes.
was a Schwinn bicycle.
I don't remember it being a
Black
gift.
Panther.
Yes, I
The black-
remember.
the
Oh,
black-
do I remember that Schwinn bicycle?
What did you have? Did you have a
What?
bicycle?
I had a bicycle, boy. I don't even think I had a scooter, let alone a bicycle.
Remember scooters? We used to make scooters.
Yeah, we used to make scooters. Yeah.
But I can't. But your revenge though came because at age 12, we started working at the banana stand.
You started working on the banana stand.
When did you start working?
At age 4, I think. As soon as there
They
was a
didn't have-
banana stand.
Yeah, but they didn't. No.
All right, no.
Come
as
on,
soon as
come on, no.
What?
No, you took advantage of me, Elliot. You got even. You got even because you were, I guess, in college, and you wanted to go and get a
You're
job
right.
in the
You're right.
Catskills.
I see.
Not
No,
the
no, it
Catskills,
wasn't.
in Lake. What was it?
That was Mount Freedom.
Mount Freedom.
At Saints Hotel in Mount
Right.
Freedom. I was a waiter.
All right, which
in
was
Bellhop,
the
yeah.
dream come true to go
Right.
away, to live away for the summer in this environment. And in order for him to do that, of course, someone had to sell bananas, irrespective of how old this young child was. He had to take over the responsibility.
The fact that I
So-
needed the money for college or law school, that didn't mean anything, you know?
Well,
Yes.
that was a waste of time to go to
Right.
college anyway. So,
Especially
so-
since I found I reached when I graduated from high school, I got a job because I didn't start college until graduated in February, didn't start college until September, so I got a job at an insurance company, and then I left that job for another job.
Kessler.
And my father, no, that was Kessler was my clerk. I think I went to one of the supermarkets, not supermarket, one of the department stores. Anyway, my father says, "You're quitting the job at the insurance company. You work where it's warm.
That was
You work where
my
it's
whole life. I
warm."
remember that. My whole
Yes.
life I remember that.
He says,
That
"How
the-
can you quit a job
We work where
where
it's
you
warm.
work inside where it's warm?"
Warm.
Like if it was up to him, I would be
Right.
working.
You'd be a checkered path mark.
I'd still be in this. I'd still be a file clerk with the
But it's
insurance
warm,
company.
right.
But it's warm.
Warm, which is an interesting comment anyway. About the fact every time it's a cold day outside,
Yeah,
and I think of what it was like to be working outside.
it was terrible. It was
Really,
terrible.
yeah.
It was terrible.
And I, as a poor young child, when you were in the Catskills, but you also left to get a job selling shoes, and you left me at the bananas.
Yeah, well, all right. See, that's what you've always thrown up. Now, I'm not defending the thing. I mean,
Right.
I mean, which to me it was a double whammy. Yeah, all right. I'm gonna tell a little. All right, we're on this thing. All right.
Now, my only point is you got even. My point is
No, but
I
I have
caught
to
up.
because I have to explain my position as compared to your position. I was a kid. I was 12 years old, 11 years old. I would take the bus to 1 Newark
Right,
from South 17th Street down to Mulberry Street,
right.
and then I would walk to the banana stand, which was outside of a butcher shop. And I would help my father at the banana stand. And then, unfortunately, I got hungry.
That happened to me too.
No, not like that.
Yeah, well,
All right, let me continue
yeah,
the
okay.
story because these people got whoever's
Right.
watching this, it's got. And so finally, maybe 1 o'clock, whatever, I was starving, I was almost ready to faint. My father would say, "All right, go and have lunch." I would go around the corner to a little luncheonette. And I would go there and sit. And I remember I really liked their hot roast beef sandwiches.
Pot roast. Take good pot roast.
Oh, I remember roast beef. But
Right.
it's been beside the point. It was 75 cents I would. And I would order it. Now, I would just order it. It hadn't come yet. It was still in the kitchen. Out of the scene from Psycho. The door to the luncheonette would swing open. There were other customers sitting there. There was a waitress. The door would swing open. This madman in a white apron would walk in. You son of a bitch! I got 20 customers there! And I remember the waitress would always yell at him and scream. And even the owner of the guy would run out from the kitchen. What the hell's wrong with you, you know?
So we're back again. I got wine because I have to have a little booze in me in order to tolerate, and it also brings back some recollections.
I have Diet Coke, which is my addiction.
You know, someone asked me once why I decided to become a lawyer. Okay? Now, I guess I guess the proper thing to say was because I always loved and respected my older brother and wanted to imitate my older brother. Elliot was a lawyer, and I followed in his footsteps. I mean, we were actually, you know, you think about it, they were good years for us. They weren't. It wasn't until we started practicing law together that we had our
mortal
differences.
enemies.
Say, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore.
It was a mistake.
Oh yeah,
practicing
it
law
was a
together.
mistake practicing law together. We're not going to.
Because, as I said, even though, look, we're very different personalities.
Right.
Although now with this new brain surgery, you're dying.
Yeah, see, you see, the person you're seeing now
Right.
is different than
Right,
the person
right.
that was here. Let's see, I'll be 83, so I was until I was 82 when I had the brain surgery. They screwed up some brain lobe.
You're like the Frankenstein monster.
Right. They screwed up some brain lobe.
Right.
Which altered my personality.
Really did.
My family, my kids, and my wife, they say I talk too much. As I read up on it, because these things do happen, and there's medical verification, but they describe it much more nicely. They say after a head injury, or after brain surgery, they find that many people become more quote unquote sociable. And sociable is another word for talks too much.
Well, as I said, last time when I came here,
Yeah.
Alan said, "What'd you do with?" I said, "We had a real nice time."
Right, we're having a very nice time
yeah.
now.
Yeah. So, Elliot,
Yes.
getting back to the practice of law, I'm trying to think of the year, probably 1964, we got together and formed
Yeah,
a
it
law
was
firm.
1964.
Formed a law firm. And,
3 of us in 2 offices.
Right. And Steve Siddons was our first hire.
Our first employee.
Do we call him
And
the man? We didn't remember his name.
I remember I fired him.
Did you?
Sure, don't you?
When he frozen?
When he froze.
Yeah.
I mean,
It turned out, Steve turned out to be right.
hey, Steve and I
know.
we became
But-
partners. Yeah.
I always said that you and I were partners 23 and a half years.
Yeah.
And I always said we fought 23 of the 23 and a half years. And you said to me, I don't remember the half year.
I was just going to say that now.
Yeah.
I don't remember it. No, no.
Right. That's what
We,
it
you
did
know,
like.
we and probably if we spoke about the things that we disagreed about today, and which
Yeah.
I have no interest at all in doing,
Right.
we would still disagree and maybe end up not talking to each other.
I don't know.
I don't know that.
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember one thing that we disagreed about.
No, I remember. I remember quite well, Sheldon. Because, all right, I'm not going to.
No. I really don't. I'm serious about that. It's a blank. The whole thing's a blank.
All right. Well, if you ever want to know, but if you don't
I
want
don't
to,
wanna know.
okay,
I don't
all right.
care.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't
Everywhere
matter.
we both did fine.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Who would have ever thought that we would be living the life that we lived?
I think about that.
Yeah.
I think about how lucky we are. As I was coming here, I was seeing this enormous American flag blowing.
Right.
in the
Yeah.
wind.
Right.
And at my house, I fly 2 American flags. And I always think what Dad used to say. It's Dine America.
It's Dine-
Dine
right,
America.
right,
He
right.
said, It's your country. I think he was jealous of us.
You know, I'm going to tell you
he does.
something. I'm going to put it on here. People who want to come and lynch me for saying it, I'm going to say it anyway. You know, because you brought out something that really, I don't know about Sheldon. As I grew up, I was very poor. Okay? And,
Well, we'll keep discussing that.
okay.
Was he also poor?
No, he was very wealthy.
I was upper middle class.
He was upper middle class, and I
I
was
was lower middle class.
I was poor.
Okay.
In my bed, see, my half of the room, we slept in the same room through our lives, and he had half of the room and I had half of the room. But my half of the room was upper middle class, his half of the room was lower middle class. And just the way, you sort of kept, you know what, you kept your side of the room sort of like a lower middle class.
I did.
You know. But growing up on South 17th Street, first of all, it was unique in that, although my kids grew up the same with their whole family around them.
Right, okay.
You know,
yeah.
right now, with my kids, don't forget, Alex and Lee
Yeah.
live right down the road from Kevin.
Mhm.
Michael's across the lake. Kevin's across the lake.
Oh, you have
Jody's
yeah.
brothers across the lake
Right.
from them.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And two of Jody's cousins.
No,
live.
you have such a beautiful family.
No, we do. And,
You really do.
So,
and
but-
we don't. That's,
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying though is the neighborhood
You
we live in
don't.
is
Yeah.
the whole family.
Well, what we do
Nobody-
have is wonderful. What we do have is magnificent. But what we have is are the kids.
Yeah, I know.
And,
But no, I'm talking about the
and
extended
Ricky.
family though.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the
Well,
extended
that's a
family.
beautiful family.
And when we grew up where Aunt Sarah lived a block and a half away.
Right.
Okay. Tante Malka lived a block and a half away.
Right.
Aunt Eva lived a block away.
Block away.
Uncle Morris lived 2 blocks away.
Right.
Uncle Harry lived a block and a half away.
Right.
Okay. So, and our grandparents lived on 13th Street.
Right.
So we lived on 17th, they were on 13th. So 4
Yes.
blocks away, 5 blocks away. And so we grew up in that environment, and Uncle Jaime was married to Aunt Sarah, had a shoemaker store
Right.
on 16th Avenue, where we'd see him all the
Right.
time.
Right. You would just walk.
So in our neighborhood, there was constant, like Uncle Harry would come over the house.
Oh, absolutely.
The famous episode.
All right. That was my episode. I want to tell
Okay,
it.
go ahead.
All right. We had living upstairs a young boy our age, Jewish boy, by the name of Joel Wiener. And we had an alley, and we lived on the first floor, and we had an alley between our house and another house, and Joel and I were doing something, playing something in the alley, and we got into a fight.
Right under the window. Right under the window.
Right under the kitchen window. The window was open.
Hot summer day.
Hot summer day, and there was a screen on the window. And Uncle Harry had come over, and Mom had put a pitcher of lemonade on the table. And Harry shouted, "Stop fighting," or whatever. Of course, nobody paid attention if we even listened to him. Harry takes the lemonade and throws the pitcher of lemonade at
That was so funny.
Meanwhile, the pieces of lemon get stuck in the
Yeah, I
screen.
mean, he's sitting right next to the screen.
Right. So, and now in those days, if a piece of lemon got stuck in the screen,
Stayed.
you didn't get a new screen.
Right, it stayed in the
It
screen.
stayed in that screen, and for 20 years.
20 years that screen, you'd look out the window,
We thought
and there were pieces of lemon on the screen for Uncle Harry.
Then they forgot.
He had just come to the United States, and there's somebody selling ice cream sandwiches.
His brother came to meet him.
And his brother
Uncle
came
Jaime
to meet him. So this guy's selling ice cream sandwiches. So Jaime, I think it's the summer. Jaime buys an ice cream sandwich, puts it in his pocket to eat later.
They tasted, he loved it so much, he didn't want to eat it all at once.
Right.
So he put the rest in his pocket for later. There were stories about all kinds of things about.
Unbelievable.
Did you ever go to the Tenement House Museum?
No, I never made it
But
there.
that was,
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
it's like
that's
3 blocks where my mother grew up in New York. And as such, you go there and you see how life was there.
Yeah.
Not good.
Not Enid, we were talking before. When you first met Elliot, where do we live, on 17th Street or on Wainwright Street?
17th Street.
17th?
And
Absolutely.
I
Because
Yeah.
because the apartment you spoke about, sleeping over,
was Wainwright.
was Wainwright Street.
Yeah,
But
but
I
that
have
was
to
like
tell
right.
you about 17th Street. When Elliot first took me there, I could not believe that Jewish people could be so poor.
I was wearing my
Sorry
suit,
about that.
and I went to get my overcoat, and my overcoat was missing in the closet. And I said, that son of a bitch, Ellie, he took the overcoat. I cursed him out. So I went to the business luncheon conference. All my friends were in overcoats. I said, no, I don't like to wear overcoats. I don't like them. I'm uncomfortable in an overcoat. So I went to business luncheon, froze my ass off the business luncheon conference. And I'm cursing Elliot all day. So, of course, as usual, at the end of the day, I went to Mulberry Street to sell bananas. I
And
go to Mulberry Street, there's Ira Bross
Your
selling
overcoat.
bananas in the overcoat.
that's a
All right,
And the
great
benefit,
story.
I once, in a similar vein, I once had a beautiful shirt. What kind of shirt was it, Karen? A winter shirt.
I thought you bought
talking
him
to
a
me?
shirt.
No, I had a shirt.
Oh, you gave him
He
a
wants-
shirt?
No, I had a shirt.
He once had a shirt.
But
Yeah.
I forgot what kind of shirt it was, but nice, the kind of shirt you wear in the winter. I forgot what they're called. In any event, so it's, my father once said, it's a cold day, can I wear this shirt? I said, sure, Dad, of course, you know. So he wore this shirt, and he was very happy with it. And I love this shirt. It's a beautiful, to this day, I love that shirt. I wake up in the middle of the night screaming for that shirt. So one day, it's a nice day, the spring is coming, I go to Mulberry Street, and I see my father, and he's wearing this shirt, except it's a nice warm day, so he cut the sleeves off.
Made a shirt for
You
you.
see, you have to understand that my father
We know.
was just semi-civilized.
Right.
That's what it comes down
That's
to.
being kind. That's
Yeah.
being kind.
That's being kind, yes.
Right.
We know.
Right. Now he would scream. He would, like you said, like you run into the restaurant.
Restaurant, no, that was terrible.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
And he'd do that. He,
Yeah.
would,
What was that? I don't
he was
remember.
out of control.
In what restaurant? What happened?
It
Well,
was
we
a
were
little-
working around the
A
corner.
little luncheonette. Yeah.
He could control himself. He was out of control.
We know other people like that.
All right, we're not going. Oh, you see, this
You know,
was.
this was
You
so.
know, I'll
This
tell
way.
you something.
You know, this did not have to be abridged until you two came. This was a perfect time.
And the other one, it was going beautiful.
Right.
I thought maybe it would be a documentary that PBS
It
would
was
write.
right,
You
right,
know,
right. It was clean. It was
Just
healthy.
right.
I haven't
All
said
of
a
a
word.
sudden-
I'm
Contained a
sitting
high moral
here
level.
quietly playing with my phone.
Still have.
I'm getting
But-
blamed for you, Enid.
no,
What are you
this
doing?
is
Getting all your
this is
heels?
really an
You're
amazing
1,000.
world.
But it's a perfect example, though, of all women are crazy.
If anybody's watching that and doesn't know it, they would not understand what this
That's
is.
right.
So
That's
what-
right.
I mean,
what's
that is
running
so
into-
It'll be
basic.
self-evident. This will be self-evident.
Self-evident.
Self-evident. It was. You once commented to me that our family was one step out of the caves, and so in other words, there was no inhibitions.
I really don't think. You see, you notice I kept referring. Our mother was wonderful. Whether Sheldon will, maybe Sheldon will agree. I mean, I certainly feel that if we've made anything of our lives, and I think we have, it's 100% because my mother was a saint. You know, I mean, really, that she put up. I mean, she married my father. She was 10 years younger. She married him in the heart of the Depression. She never said that she married him because things were so bad.
She
wasn't-
had. I remember Mom said she had very bad acne,
Yeah, she did.
and she always felt insecure. I had bad acne. See,
Okay,
you
all right.
didn't
Yeah.
have
No,
that.
I remember that. I
Yeah, I had
remember
very bad
that. Because
acne.
she was a good-looking woman, and
Yeah.
after she gave birth, the acne disappeared.
Yeah.
But
And it was at that point. Mom went to 8th grade. She graduated.
Right,
She
right.
always lamented the fact that
Right,
her sister went to
right,
high school
right.
and she didn't. and she was an educated woman in that respect.
Right.
And she read and
She right, right,
yeah.
absolutely.
And she came to this country when she was 3.
Right.
So although, Carol's sister Toby always talks about her having a Jewish accent.
Okay.
But she had the Jewish inflection of
Right,
East
but
Side Jews.
she did not have a
she
Jewish
did not have a
accent.
Jewish
She
accent.
didn't have a Jewish
No.
accent. No way. No
but
way.
She,
No.
she spoke Yiddish, of course, because her
Yeah,
parents
right. Her
spoke
parents
Yiddish.
spoke. That was the language that they spoke.
But Mom, I remember, and you didn't remember this aspect. We used to come at home. Mom would test us on capitals of states. You don't remember
That I
that?
don't remember. That I don't
know.
remember.
She would test us on
Okay.
spelling. She was a very good speller.
All right.
So Mom would test us on spelling.
And Enid keeps on insisting that Mom also, because Enid was crazy about Mom, but Enid also, she and I have often have, I won't say arguments, but I certainly never agreed with her, that she showed favoritism, because I never felt for 1 second that she did.
That I don't. I mean, there's no question about Dad. But,
Oh, but Dad was
Yeah,
off
yeah,
the
yeah.
wall. But not her,
no,
not her,
Mom, yeah,
no.
you're right. I think
No,
you're right
no,
about that.
no. And she encouraged us to go to school.
Yeah. Education was completely unimportant. to
Yeah,
Dad.
yeah.
Remember, we used to, if we went out on a Sunday night, we had a family circle meeting on a Sunday
Right,
night.
yeah.
Dad would say, "You're out late. You don't have to go to school."
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe this is. Do you remember the story about the inspection?
Do
Yeah,
I remember?
right.
Mr.
No, I was
Okay.
wondering if I should.
You tell it.
Yeah.
It's your story. You tell
It's
it.
my story.
Yeah,
I
it's
should
your
tell
story. Tell
I
it.
probably should tell it because
Yes,
it
yeah.
should be with posterity.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the Bross family never believed that we were capable of passing inspection for the car, without paying off the inspector. So, and the cars were always conversations always evolved around cars. And we had the 48 Dodge, which was our life evolved around the 48 Dodge. And it came time for inspection, and Uncle Morris had gone for inspection the prior week, and he wanted me to go back and take the car for inspection, or Dad wanted me to take the car for inspection. And he told me to speak to Uncle Morris and find out who I saw at the inspection bureau. And if you're in the banana business, the way you pay off the inspector. By the way, the car was perfectly capable of passing inspection. There was nothing wrong with it. No, it's just that if you get inspected. So Uncle Morris said I should go to the inspection station and see Mr. Tsimis. He says I should go and see Mr. Tsimis, and Mr. Tsimis will take care. I'll get this back. So I go to the inspection station. You go around the back, and I have this big bag of bananas that my father gave me. And I went and I looked, and it says, "Mr. Tsimis, sir." They said, "No one named him." "Sure, no." So I go back down on Mulberry Street. I see my father. I said, "No one named Tsimis." He says, "Call Morris." So I call Morris. I said, "Uncle Morris, I went there." Tsimis, he says, "He's there, very excited. I saw him last week. Go, you'll ask what Tsimis will take care." I go back again to the inspection station, walk around the back, every booth, no Mr. Tsimis. Come back to Mulberry Street, say, "Dad, I went there, I checked everybody, no one knows Mr. Tsimis." So he says, "Call Morris." So I call Uncle Morris. I say, "Uncle Morris, I went there a second time, no Mr. Tsimis." He says, "College boy, I told your father he's wasting his time sending you to college. You're learning nothing, you should go." "Ivan, I saw Tsimis." I said, "Uncle Morris, can I speak to Irv, who's his son who's working there?" I said, "Irv, I went to the inspection station twice now, and I went there, and I tried to sign the inspector. He wasn't there." He said, "Who did my father tell you to look for?" I said, "Mr. Tsimis." There's a pause, and Irv says, "Sheldon Fitzsimmons." By the way, speaking of high school,
Yeah,
because you said to me the other day, you said you went, when Michael was in Newark Academy,
yeah.
you went to watch a football game because you wanted to see a Bross in a
Yeah,
football uniform.
exactly, right.
The concept of Bross in a football uniform.
It blew my mind. I mean,
but I remember watching you when you were on the cross country team.
Right.
And by the way, I remember the star of the cross country team.
Walt Hockaday.
Hockaday,
Walt
right.
Hockaday,
He's
right.
a very famous name in America. A couple Hockadays.
Okay,
But Elliot used to run cross country.
believe it or not.
Yeah, yeah.
I wasn't
He got a
good.
letter. Elliot got a letter.
I got a letter. I wasn't any good.
Right now.
But our team was a state championship.
Right.
Had nothing to do with
Yeah.
me. I never placed
I
anywhere.
used to go to the meets and watch, wait
Right.
for you to come in.
Cuts.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, structurally, my father got married at age 39,
Yeah. Okay.
okay?
Yeah.
And he was not the youngest, but he was close to the youngest. So Elliot and I had many, many cousins, because I think our grandparents had altogether 7 or 8 children.
They have more than that.
Yeah, a couple in Europe.
A number
yeah.
of them
Right, yeah.
just the youngest ones came
Right,
here.
right.
No, I think they
But,
were.
but in this country, there were probably 6, 7.
Well, I can tell you how many there were if it was important.
No, but
All right, about
A couple,
about 6,
a couple
7.
had died.
Yeah, a
that we
couple
didn't know.
died. Right. Yeah, 6 or
Faye's
7.
mother,
Yeah, 6 or 7. All right.
But we were the youngest of the children. Anita,
Yeah.
was Anita younger than you, Roby?
Anita may have been a little younger,
All right.
but not, or the but
Right.
she's about the
So,
same age.
so it came the youngest. I was the youngest of all the grandchildren.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I saw in the graveyard. Dad's mother's buried there.
Okay.
She died in 1938, like
All right.
about 6 months after I was born. So I never knew her.
All right.
But in any event, I was the youngest of all, and therefore a lot of the cousins were old enough to be drafted or volunteer during World War II.
Yeah.
So we had a whole bunch of cousins and boyfriends of cousins who were in the war during World War II. And then after the war, we had this house in Bradley Beach, and when they came home from the service, this was a great place to go.
Right. Right. There was.
Stay with us and visit us. And,
Yeah, they would come to change to go to the beach and end up spending a week. You
right,
know?
right, yeah.
But yeah.
But do you know anybody else in our neighborhood that had a house on the shore? In our upper middle class neighborhood?
I don't know what the other people did during the summer. You know.
Come on, Elliot. There's nobody else I knew of that rented a bungalow for the summer.
Look.
I'm talking
How
about-
many people watching this? Everybody watching this that rents a bungalow for the summer, raise your hand. All right. There were other things they did. I
But
know.
it was a step toward affluence to be able to rent a bungalow. No,
Yeah. You know.
we did things. First of all, when we got our car, when Dad
Yeah.
got the 48 Dodge, which
Right.
was 49, I guess he got
Yeah.
it.
Or, yeah.
Very few people had cars in the neighborhood.
Right, but some did. But no.
Mom got her Persian Land
Oh, the
Rover.
Persian. All right. Now,
Right.
now, that's something else that it's always. Was I'm going to use this to explain. Was maybe down there he's listening to me. You got 2 sons. You don't have any money in the bank. You don't have much money in the
No
bank.
money in the bank.
You have 2 sons ready to graduate from high school. Maybe they don't want to go into the banana business. Maybe there was no student loans in those days or anything. Maybe it's nice to have a couple of dollars to help your kids go to college. He gets a hold of some money. What does he do? He buys my mother a Persian lamb.
And it was an extraordinary amount of money.
Right, it was like
It
a
was over
crazy.
2,000.
Oh well, way over 2. It was in the thousands of dollars.
Well, but I remember the car, the Dodge they put, the 48 Dodge, I think was about 2,000.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, that was
Yeah, it was
that
about-
was 2,025 yards,
Right, right.
something like that. But even the car I can understand because the car, was a real status symbol.
Yeah.
Okay, but where the hell to go and sell bananas? She needed a Persian lamb coat.
By the way, were we not some of the first people in our neighborhood to have a television set also?
That's another crazy thing either. We got a television set in 1947.
What color was it make?
What? RCA was it?
No.
What?
There was a brand then that was popular.
Philco,
No,
Admiral.
That was no longer.
I don't know. I always thought it was an RCA. I don't
No.
remember. It wasn't just a television set.
That was a console.
It was a console with a phonograph
Right,
and a
right,
radio,
right,
a
yeah,
real
right,
piece of
right.
furniture.
Yeah, but we did. I'm telling you, people in our neighborhood didn't do stuff like that.
No, because
They weren't saving money either.
Oh,
They
if
weren't.
they could afford to save
No,
money,
they
they
weren't
would save
saving
it.
money. They weren't
Oh,
saving
come on. Sheldon, you see?
All right, let's talk about.
That's the reason I'm so blue. Never have a thing to do. Only sit around and cry for the girl who said goodbye. My heart can't seem to find a way to leave behind the thoughts that seem to bind my love to you.